This is the tiny house that I'm renting in the archipelago of Gothenburg. The tiny house is in the garden of this larger house in the same style. When it's season for it, one of the main perks here is the patio. Right now, as you can see, not really in shape, but sitting here with a morning coffee or lying in a hammock that could be mounted on this stand is such a cozy part of this place. It is quite cold right now, but I still wanted to get outside just so you can listen, or rather hear, I guess, the silence that is out here. This is one of the main perks of being out here. It is just so silent and I love it. Let's get inside to see how it is made up. When getting inside, you come straight into the bed area. And this place is really small, so it's not like there are a lot of different areas to cover. But let's see it from all different directions. The bed folds out to become a double bed if you want it to, and it has storage in the bottom. In this direction we have a little workspace, which has been pretty great, both for working as well as eating or drinking. Then there is some storage on the side, which is a little bit too open, and I'm thinking about hiding it away in some way. Right now I use it for both outdoor gear in the bottom, instruments and workout gear, and then regular clothes and some artist's material there. Some work in progress to be made of that. The window is pretty huge, and I really like being able to see straight out into the backyard like this. Then we have a little eating area, which is the table from the patio and a chair. And then one very important part is the radiator. In the beginning, I didn't have a proper radiator, I just had a smaller one, and this place was super cold when autumn and winter starts hitting Sweden, so getting a proper radiator has been a game changer. Turning a little bit to the left, we have a kitchen area, which is actually very well working. It has a full-size oven and full-size stove, a bunch of storage, and then a fridge with a freezer compartment in it. If we keep walking in this big spacious area, we have the entrance here, which just has a rack for hanging stuff, and I'm drying some shirts here. And then we get into the bathroom. And here we have a shower, and we have a laundry machine, the toilet, and turning around you can see we have the sink there. The floor in the bathroom is heated, which is one of the major parts of making this tiny house feel really nice. Last but not least, here is the entrance to the house, and this is where I usually park my bike. And I don't utilize this area very much. It's basically just to enter when coming here. I kind of wish there was a sleep loft, but right now this area up top towards the roof is only for storage. So they could have made this house a little bit higher ceiling and then be able to fit a bed up in this loft area. I haven't furnished this place, so I can't take much credit for it. The only thing I've added is this carpet. And this I really enjoy, both because it's beautiful, but also because it makes your feet less cold to walk on this, instead of walking on the wood floor. I'm renting this place for around 450 euros per month, which for me is a great price to be able to get a proper getaway from the hustle and bustle of city life. And my flat in the city is right next to a road, so being able to get the silence there is just beautiful. So what's the deal with having this kind of archipelago getaway? I figured I'd sit down and just talk you through a few of the pros and cons about having a place like this out on an island. First of all, being on an island is something that I have dreamed about for so many years. And I talked so much about having a place on an island, about trying to live on an island, that it started feeling almost ridiculous at one point. I was just telling everyone how much I dreamt of this island life, but not really considering how I would set it up to be able to try living that actual island life. And then I decided to join a few Facebook groups where people on the islands were sharing if they had places to rent out. And quite soon after joining one of those Facebook groups, this place popped up, and I saw it as a relatively affordable place for me. And it's well situated on the island. It's a decent size, so it won't be too expensive to heat up during the winter. They were renting it out for 9 months, so from the end of September to the middle of June. And it just seemed like a really great way to be able to try island life properly. Now it's been about 1.5 months of staying here on the island, and I can conclude that I've spent around half of the time here and half of the time in the city. I thought probably that I would spend a bit more time out here on the island, but it proves really complicated if you're doing something at nighttime or evening time in the city to then get out here afterwards. And I'm dancing a ton, and if I go out dancing and it finishes at, say, 10 o'clock in the evening, it will take me almost 2 hours to get back out to the island. I would be out here at midnight, pretty much have to rush to bed immediately to be able to wake up in the morning and make the commute into the office. So I didn't do that very often. If I went out in the evening, I went to my flat in the city. But if I didn't go out, then I went out here and had a relaxing evening and afternoon out in the hut without the possibility to change my mind and still go out to do something in the city, which is actually a really big pro of being a bit secluded and a bit far away from everyday city life. The commute to the office in the mornings is actually a really nice part of staying here. And it might not seem like it, but it was one of the reasons why I wanted to have a place out here. I have for some time been struggling a bit to get my morning meditation in when I'm waking up in my flat in the city, and I tend to snooze until I have to get up to be in the office in time. And when I'm here, I have no opportunity to snooze. I have to get up to be able to get the boat, to then be able to connect to another boat or a bus or a tram and make it into the office. And that commute comes in at between 45 minutes up to like a little bit more than an hour. And that commute time is pretty much the perfect morning meditation time. So I get up here, get dressed, pack my stuff, and then bike the few minutes down to the ferry place, and then take the ferry and meditate on the ferry. Then sometimes I switch to another ferry and keep meditating, or I switch to the bus, which is much quicker, but also not as nice. I just love being able to take the ferry as much as possible. Just being on the water is so refreshing, and it's such a nice and different way to commute. When going back from the office to the island, I realized that 1 time per day there is a boat going straight from the inner city center all the way out to the island, which is just a few minutes down the road from here, like 1.5 to 2 minutes on the bike. And that one takes about 1 hour and 20 minutes. But just getting onto that ferry at 5 and then coming out here at 6:15 is such a nice way to end the day. I can just do the last bits and pieces of work, or I just sit down and relax and read a book, or watch the river as it is floating by and we pass different parts of the city. I truly enjoy that 1+ hour commute without any changes. And I can bring my regular size bike, which is also a huge pro of taking that boat. One other kind of surprising pro about having this place here is that it has a laundry machine. If you are not from Sweden, you're probably not familiar with how laundry works in Sweden. If you're renting a flat, you typically don't have a laundry machine within the flat. You have a laundry room that is shared with all the neighbors in the house, and sometimes with a few different houses. And the laundry spots, you have to book them in advance. You can only book 1 spot at a time. And usually the afternoon slots are quite hard to get by. And I have a relatively busy lifestyle, both with work and stuff that I do in my free time, that booking these laundry slots is almost impossible sometimes. So I find myself having no clothes to wear and sometimes even having to buy new socks or buy new underwear to be able to have clean clothes to wear. And I really don't like that part of infrastructure in my life, and having this place that I can go out to is relatively nearby. It's like 45 minutes away from the flat. It really helps out to be able to go out here, do laundry and just chill out, be in nature, be in silence. Strange part, but really enjoyable. Another huge part of being here is just sitting. Like being on my meditation bench and just sitting here. There's silence. Sometimes there are people passing by outside, which is a great part of the practice. It's dark. It's serene. It's a really interesting meditation experience to be here. And on that note, the silence and the darkness and serenity really helps with sleep quality as well. So one thing I totally observed is when I go out here, I sleep so well. So what are the cons to staying in this tiny house on an island in the archipelago of Gothenburg? Well, one of the major cons really has to be the inconvenience of getting groceries. There is a grocery store, but on weekdays it is open until 6 p.m. and on weekends it's open until 2 p.m. So right now I'm recording this, it's 11, which gives me 3 hours to spare before I have to make it to the grocery store. Otherwise I'm screwed to be able to get groceries for this weekend hangout that I'm on. That's something I'm not used to, but I guess it's a rhythm that you can really get into. However, when I'm commuting from the office, that means I always have to buy my groceries in the city and then make the commute. It's not the end of the world by any means. It's just one of those things that you're so used to from staying in a city that you can always go down to like a small store and pick up a liter of milk if you forgot to buy it. Here, that's not really an option. You are left with what you have. Something that I can also appreciate. It's really like accepting what you have, accepting what is, and not just be able to change it right away when you feel like it. Another potential con is the size of the place. It's only 17 square meters. The main problem I would say that it poses is that it gets messy quite quickly. So if you're not cleaning it up, if you're not like organizing your stuff properly, it looks kind of messy right away. Even just putting my bag on the floor makes it almost feel a bit messy because it takes up quite a lot of space. The pro, however, the real big part of that is that I'm practicing the art of living in smaller spaces and just accepting having the basic stuff, like having a spot to sleep in, a spot to sit in, and not needing much more. Because honestly, you don't need that much to be able to live a very nice life. And it's quite easy sometimes to fall into the pattern of wanting more. I've done that for a majority of my life, so just having a very simple room with the basics you need for living life is something I want to practice doing. Last but not least, just being in a new place and exploring a new place is quite a fun thing. So I've been out on a few runs, out on a few walks, and the nature around on the island is super nice. Being so close to the sea is something I value a ton, and I really want to keep exploring the island and put more videos up on this channel. Is one of the main things of renting this place, being able to make outdoor reviews, nature reviews, reflections on life, and post them on this channel. So it's a bit of a life project emerging here during this upcoming year. I think that's it for now, and I'll probably be recording some kind of follow-up videos on this topic. Being out here in wintertime is going to be quite interesting, because I imagine that it's going to be a bit rougher than what it has been during September, October and part of November. If you want to follow along on that journey, then you can subscribe to this channel, Exploring Yourself. And I hope I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.